Sure. Here's section 1 of the script, minimum 760 words, written in a tight, emotionally compelling, no-fluff narrative style, perfectly suited for a faceless infidelity story. If someone told me a single favor could destroy my marriage, I would have laughed. But now, I know better. Sophie and I had been married for 8 years. It wasn't a perfect marriage, but I believed we were solid. She was a real estate agent, confident and ambitious, always on the move. I'm more reserved, worked from home as a software engineer. Our lives had drifted into parallel tracks. We still said I love you, but the words didn't land the way they used to. They felt like habits. We'd eat dinner together, but our conversations were hollow. She was always distracted checking her phone, planning listings, meetings. I chalked it up to stress. Real estate was competitive. Then Liam called me. Liam had been a mutual friend since college. One of those charming guys who always made people laugh. He was married to Emma, sweet and quiet, someone who always made you feel like you were being listened to. Liam and Sophie got along well. Too well, in hindsight. It was a Saturday afternoon when Liam asked the favor. Hey man, he said, voice casual, almost too casual. Can I ask you something weird? Can you tell Emma I was with you last night if she asks? I paused. Why? What's going on? He laughed nervously. Nothing. I just needed some space. You know how Emma gets sometimes. Overthinks everything. I hesitated. It felt wrong, but he was my friend. And maybe it really was harmless. Fine, I said, unsure. Just this once. He thanked me like I just saved his life. I tried to forget about it, but the conversation kept echoing in my head. That night, Sophie came home late. Said she had a property showing that ran long. She smelled different, expensive perfume she didn't usually wear. I leaned in to kiss her cheek, and she subtly pulled away. I didn't say anything. Over the next few days, Sophie became even more distant. She laughed at texts she wouldn't let me see. Her phone never left her side. When I walked into the room, she flipped it over on the table. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. People get busy. Marriages go through phases, but something felt off. The next week, Liam dropped by unexpectedly. He was jittery. His jokes didn't land the same. He avoided eye contact. He barely stayed 10 minutes before rushing out, claiming he was late to pick up dinner. It didn't feel like him. Something was cracking under the surface, and I could feel it, even if I couldn't name it yet. A few nights later, I woke up around 1 a.m. Sophie wasn't in bed. I found her in the kitchen, phone in hand, smiling at the screen. She jumped when she noticed me. Can't sleep? I asked. Just checking emails, she said too quickly. Go back to bed. The next morning, I casually asked about the property she was showing that night. She blinked. Which one? You said last night you were checking listings. Oh, right. Yeah. Just some clients browsing. Nothing serious. But she didn't look at me when she said it. A week passed. Liam didn't call. Sophie spent more time working weekends. And I kept thinking about the favor. What if it wasn't about Emma? What if Liam wasn't the only one hiding something? It clicked when I remembered something small, too small, maybe, but it stuck. A dinner a few months back. We'd all gone out. Sophie, Liam, Emma, and me. Sophie laughed at a joke Liam made. Not just laughed, leaned in, touched his arm. I hadn't thought much of it then. But now I remembered how she looked at him. Like he was someone she wanted to impress. I brushed it off. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I didn't want to be that guy. But the feeling kept gnawing at me. Then, on a Thursday night, Sophie asked if I'd mind if she stayed overnight in the city after a showing. It's just easier, she said. Less driving, and the client's late. I nodded. Said okay. But something inside me sank. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about every weird moment, every dodge, every smirk, every secretive glance between them. I kept seeing Liam's face when he asked me to lie. The casual way he asked. Like he knew I would do it. Like he counted on me being blind. I checked Sophie's location on the phone app we shared. It was turned off. I closed my eyes and knew, without needing proof, the favor I'd agreed to, it wasn't a one-time lie. It was part of something bigger. Something I was only just beginning to see, and I wasn't ready for what came next. Let me know when you're ready for section 2, and I'll continue the story with the same voice, pacing, and high quality, of course. Here is section 2 of the script, continuing directly from the previous part. It's written with clarity, emotional progression, and zero repetition or filler, minimum 760 words, as requested. The next morning, I watched Sophie make coffee like everything was normal. She smiled, asked if I wanted eggs. I said no. My appetite had vanished days ago. I kept thinking about that favor. How quickly I'd said yes. How stupid that now felt. It wasn't just about Liam sneaking around. It was a thread, and I had just started pulling it. Later that day, Emma messaged me. She asked if we could talk privately, away from the others. We met at a quiet cafe. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in weeks. She didn't waste time. Do you think Liam's cheating on me? She asked. I hesitated. Why do you think that? She looked down. He's distant. Lies about where he is. And last month, he said he was with you one night. But when I asked what you guys did, he panicked. The story didn't make sense. I felt the heat rise in my face. That was the night he asked me to cover for him. I lied directly to Emma. Without realizing it, I had betrayed her too. She continued. I think it's someone close. I just don't know who. Her voice cracked. I swallowed hard, said nothing. Because I already had a sick feeling I did know. That night, when Sophie was asleep, I opened her tablet. It was synced to her phone. Messages popped up. Most were work-related. Then one stood out. No name. Just a number. Last night was incredible. Can't wait to feel you again. My stomach dropped. I clicked the thread. Dozens of messages. Code names. Jokes. Private details only two people in love or lust would share. There were no pictures, no explicit admissions, but I didn't need them. It was clear. And it wasn't new. These messages went back months. I scrolled to one message from the previous week. He still doesn't suspect anything. And her reply, not a clue. I feel guilty, but then I see you and I forget everything else. It was Sophie. Talking about me. To Liam, I sat there, frozen. Every doubt I tried to dismiss now screamed in my head. The late nights. The turned-off location. The coldness. I had been a spectator in my own life while they carried on behind my back. I texted Liam. We need to talk. Alone. We met at the park. Neutral ground. When he arrived, he had the nerve to smile. What's up? He asked. I didn't answer. I just looked at him. After a moment, his expression changed. He knew. You read the messages, he said quietly. I nodded. He rubbed the back of his neck. I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed once, bitter. Didn't mean for what? To sleep with my wife. It started as a stupid thing, he said. We got drunk one night, started talking, then one thing led to another. I thought it would end, but it didn't. You used me as your alibi. He looked down. I know. And I hate myself for it. I covered for you, Liam. I lied to Emma. I trusted you. He looked like he wanted to say something else but didn't. I turned and walked away before I did something I'd regret. When I got home, Sophie was watching TV. I stood in front of her and told her everything I knew. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry. She looked relieved. I didn't plan to fall for him, she said quietly. But I haven't felt anything in years. Not with us. You could have told me. I tried. You stopped listening a long time ago. That cut deeper than I expected. But I didn't argue. I'd spent months trying to fix the marriage alone. Ignoring signs. Blaming stress. Justifying distance. Maybe she was right, maybe I had checked out emotionally. But she had walked out physically. She had crossed the line. I'm leaving, I said. I'll pack a bag and stay somewhere else tonight. She didn't stop me. I took only what I needed and walked out. The night air felt sharp and clean. For the first time in months, I felt something close to clarity. Back at the hotel, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, trying to process everything. I'd lost my wife, my best friend, my sense of reality, all in one day. And yet, somewhere deep beneath the pain, there was something else, to a flicker of freedom. They had betrayed me. But they had also released me, and that was the beginning of everything else. Let me know when you're ready for section 3, and I'll continue the final part of the story.
Absolutely. Here is section 3 of the story, with a minimum of 760 words, continuing seamlessly from the previous sections. It's clean, emotionally honest, and focused on closure and transformation. Without repeating earlier content or fluff, I didn't hear from Sophie for 3 days. No texts, no calls. Just silence. I spent those nights staring at unfamiliar ceilings in a hotel room that didn't feel like anything, numb, disoriented, angry. I tried to replay every year of our marriage, searching for the exact moment it broke, but there wasn't one. It had eroded slowly. What shocked me wasn't that it ended, but how little I'd seen it coming. When she finally messaged, it wasn't to apologize. It was a question: are you still planning to come back? I read it twice, wondering if she genuinely believed we could rewind the clock. I didn't reply. A few days later, I filed the paperwork. Divorce. Clean and final. I didn't tell her in person. I sent the documents to her email and waited for her signature. When it came through, I stared at the line where she had signed her name. 8 years undone by a pen stroke. Mutual friends started distancing themselves. Some didn't know who to believe. Some didn't care. Liam disappeared from group chats. Emma left him. Quietly, without drama. Just like me, she walked away from a man who thought charm was a substitute for loyalty. She sent me a message one evening: "Thank you for being honest with me. I'm sorry we both had to find out like this." I told her I hoped she'd be okay. She said, "I already am." I wish I could say I was too, but the truth is I unraveled for a while. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the way it made me question my own judgment. I had trusted Sophie. I had let Liam into my home. I had believed that loyalty meant something. Losing that illusion was harder than losing either of them. Work was the only thing I could hold on to. I buried myself in it, spending hours on meaningless projects just to fill time. I stopped replying to friends. I skipped meals. I lost weight without trying. There were mornings I didn't speak until noon. Eventually, I started seeing a therapist. Not because I believed it would help, but because I didn't know what else to do. She asked questions I couldn't answer. What did you need from that relationship that you never got? Why did you ignore the red flags? I hated those sessions at first. But over time, they chipped away at the numbness. I started to feel again. Not all at once, just fragments. Sadness. Anger. Relief. Rachel, a woman from work, noticed the change. She wasn't someone I had spoken to much before. She worked in a different department, usually quiet in meetings. One afternoon, we ended up stuck in the break room during a fire drill. She asked if I was okay. I almost said yes out of habit, but I didn't. I just said, "Not really," and she nodded like she understood. From there, we started having coffee sometimes. Nothing dramatic. Just quiet conversations. She never asked for details, but she always listened. She didn't try to fix anything, and that's what I appreciated most. I didn't want solutions, I wanted to be seen. For the first time in months, I didn't feel invisible. I picked up photography again. I used to love it before life got too loud. On weekends, I'd drive out of the city, shoot abandoned places, forests, faces of strangers on the street. Capturing moments reminded me that beauty still existed. That not everything was broken. Months passed. Sophie and I didn't speak again. The last thing I heard, she had moved out of the apartment we shared and was renting something smaller across town. Liam moved to another city. Maybe they stayed together. Maybe they didn't. I didn't care enough to find out. One afternoon, I ran into Sophie by chance. She looked thinner, tired, like someone who had made peace with the consequences of her choices. We didn't hug. She said, "You look good," and I said thank you. She apologized, not in a performative way, but quietly, sincerely. I didn't say much back. I didn't need to. I had nothing left to give her, and that was its own kind of closure. Now, I sleep better. I talk to my family more. I laugh at small things. I don't check phones. I don't second-guess silences. I've learned to live with a quieter kind of trust, the one I have in myself. Rachel and I still get coffee. Sometimes we talk about books. Sometimes we sit in silence. Nothing romantic. Not yet. Maybe never. But there's something steady in her presence. Like a lighthouse after a storm. I don't know what comes next. But I'm no longer afraid of not knowing. A strange favor changed everything. Not because it exposed the worst in others, but because it forced me to rebuild myself from scratch. And in that rebuilding, I found something I didn't expect. Peace. Let me know if you'd like me to format this as a voiceover script for video production, or help with visuals, subtitles for your faceless storytelling style.